that whole mindset I just found fascinating. I found that really crazy. The first thing that struck me was how much goes into a top level football club.
Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H.
Wow. Let's talk about All or Nothing. So I got, you know what? I actually wanted to space out these episodes. I actually wanted to space them out and really watch them, sort of like episodically, and I think, that's actually what my guy, Daddy T from the Talking Talk is doing, to space it out. But the thing about it is that, let me put on my ring, my lucky ring. When I watched the first episode, and I think when I watched the second episode, I was like, this is too addictive. You see, for me, I believe I've owned every single management game that there exists. Player manager, Premier manager, FA manager. I've owned every single management game. So I am very obsessive about how a football team works, tactics, motivation, and just the behind the scenes of a football team. Like, one of my dreams has always been to be a manager of a football club and really work in the day-to-day of dealing with players and working with players, player relationships and everything. Hence why I always say, like, the greatest game of all time is, the most addictive game of all time is Championship Manager, aka Football Manager. So with this thing is like, and I used to watch the 30 for 30 for the American guys going behind the NBA. And I think one of the best sports documentaries I can think of was when they went behind the scenes of the Boston Celtics when they won their first championship with, KG, Ray Allen, and all these guys. And I was like, why don't they do this for football? They do so much good stuff for NFL, for NBA, where it feels like a movie and you get fly in the wall stuff and real organic stuff. But why do they do this for football? So when I heard that they were doing this all or nothing thing, I was like, okay, this is interesting. But how is it going to be? Is it going to be cheesy? Is it going to be fake? Is it going to be thing like that? And obviously, we'll get more to the review and everything. Because, yeah, there are cheesy bits in this. But this has to be one of the most, easily the most fascinating sports documentary. Because I'm biased. Football is the greatest sport of all time. I'm not really being biased. I think that's a fact. And I think people should really admit that it is the greatest sport of all time. And I think when you look at this documentary, see, my only beef with this documentary was I think the filmmakers were trying to make it feel too much like a film. And they were trying to, especially with the music and everything, they were trying to make it too cheesy. Whereas they should have let it breathe. They let it be organic, because the organic stuff without the music and the bells and whistles was the best stuff. Because I'm going to get to Pep, or I'm going to get to Pep. So I think it was always because I always used to watch I think Man City actually started. So Man City have actually been pioneers, because I think Man City were the first team to do the tunnel cam, where you see guys in the tunnel talking to each other and just seeing how they go. So that was always really cool. I really like watching the tunnel cams there. So with this thing is the access to this is amazing. So I think the first thing that struck me was how much goes into a top level football club and how big the staff is. I didn't think that there were so many different levels. You want to look at the medical staff. You want to look at the guy who does the football boots. You want to look at the guy who takes care of transfers, the guy who takes care of marketing, the lady who does the promo shoots. Like, when it comes to transfers, there are about 3 or 4 guys that are involved in that. 3 or 4 guys who are actively involved in that. When it comes to the to even Pep's teams, there's his assistant manager. Well, 2 assistant managers, Mikel Arteta, then the other guy, I think is Torrent or something. Then there's his analysis manager, a guy who's performance analysis manager, a guy who actually looks at the opposition and actually tries to study the opposition and see where their weaknesses and strengths lie. There's the conditioning coach that conditions the players, and the amounts of different things that players have to go through, the ice bath, the training regimes, how to recover from training and everything. It is just so crazy. Because when we just watch these things, you just think these guys just go on a football pitch. But the amounts of care that the players have is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. So I think that's what struck me. That was like, my gosh, there are so many people involved in the running of a football club. So many people, and they're all important. Even the laundry ladies as well. People who do the laundries. I mean, it is such a massive, huge team. And I think even beyond that, it reminded me of like when people told stories of being in the Marines or being in the army, where some people felt that their true family were the guys that they had in the Marines. And I think similar to a football team, it's like a family, because you probably spend more time with these guys than your family, or even almost equal. And the amount of interactions you have with these people, the things that you do, even beyond the football pitch, it really feels like if this is really a family, and you cultivate special kinds of relationships within people. So that was always very, very interesting, But I think, without a doubt, the star of this is Guardiola. Because this fully showed, this really just Guardiola-like, unchained, fully uncut, raw. I'm gonna give it to you with no trivia, straight from Bolivia. Shout out to Yo God, Wu-Tang. This was just raw. And when you look at his coaching methods and how he addressed the players, it was fascinating. It was scary. It was quite insane and psychotic. But it was absorbing. Hence why, that's what I was saying to my guy, Danny T. Once you're watching it and once you get past episode 2 or episode 3, I don't know how you can stop watching, because it is so absorbing. Because you're like when you're just looking about how he relates to the players, how he breaks down tactics, how he sets up the tactics board, and things we do not know is that obviously you can't give away everything. You can't give away everything, because when he just says little sound bites before they got to the game, that's a watered down version of the long form that he says to guys out on the training pitch. It's a watered down version of the kind of one-on-one conversations that he will have with a player, of breaking down in detail what he wants from them. So when you just hear what he says, it's shorthand, because these guys already know the long form. So the shorthand is just a reminder of the real intense, deep things that we won't get to see, because those are the cards he's going to keep close to his chest that other teams cannot find out. But I think also what was also very interesting was Johan Cruyff, and how much of an impact that Johan Cruyff had on him. Because I think one thing that he said was very interesting, which is that, and what he learns from Johan Cruyff is that we don't ever change for the opposition. The only thing we worry about is how can we attack better? How can we do better? We only worry about ourselves, because the ethos, which he obviously got from Johan Cruyff, because he played under Johan Cruyff, the ethos obviously got from Johan Cruyff, and he has cultivated, is if we play at the top of our level, we cannot lose. We cannot lose. If we play at the top of our level, we cannot lose. The only way that we lose is we don't do everything right. We do not play at the top of our level, I think there was also another very interesting thing, which shows the English mentality and the kind of continental mentality. The United game. So this is when, after halftime, they could have won the league. They were all preparing, because they all invited their family and everything. And this was the chance where they could win the league at home against their sworn rivals, Man United. And obviously they lost that 3-2. And when you're coming in, you're seeing Delph is fully angry. He's swearing and he's saying all of this stuff. And Delph just got it in his head that because we stopped running, that is why we lost. Because we did not do the basics of football, the mere basics of football, we didn't win the game. And Pep was trying to say to him that it's not about that. It's not about running or giving an effort or doing that. It's not about that. It's about, well, I think the point he made first of all was that it's football. These things happen. But I think a greater point I was making was that you have to play football. It's not about giving an effort or giving running. You have to be in a space physically and mentally of doing the right things. And obviously what happened in that second half is that they went away from doing what got them to that point. Because if they were doing what they did well, they win the game because they are easily the better team and they're playing a team that has issues and that isn't as cohesive as they are. And it goes back to what he said about Johan Cruyff, which is that if we play our games to the best of our ability, we cannot lose. If Man City in the second half played their game to the best of their ability, there is no way they lose that game to United. At 2-0 up, there is no way they lose that game to United. They win it like 5-1 or they win it like 5-1, 4-1. But I think beyond that, I think I've posted it on my Instagram. Two things which just stunned me. The first thing was, I think, probably was near the winter break, and I think it was about how he was trying to G guys up in the winter break. And then there's a thing where he's on the training ground, where he goes like, "We're tired, fuck you. We're tired, fuck you." And just that mentality of like, so Pep, what if I'm like really tired? F me. So that whole mindset I just found fascinating. I found that really crazy that he would think like that, and how demanding he is of players. And you're seeing a little insight into just his mind frame. And I think the other one, which I think is one of the most fascinating ones, was where he talks about his story. Ball boy, joined the Barcelona Academy at 13 years old, went through all the way from Barcelona, had a little stint at the end of his career, and I think in the Serie A, then he retired, came in 37 years old. As he put it, he destroyed football, like crazy, amazing domination that we've not really seen in football in a very, very long time. So, but he then said that it's not about him. It's about the players. Because, again, the media says it's Pep, left, right, do this, oh, Pep, oh, it's Pep. Look, basically, when you watch it, you'll see it. It's hilarious. But I think that was his insistence that, no, it's about the players and everything. But I think even beyond that, you'll also look at Vincent Kompany. And you get an insight into the kind of captain that he is. Because, you see, if I'm a manager, the captain is really important. He's really, 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 really important. Because I really believe in the mental makeup of a team. I think because the mind can make the body do things that it didn't think it was capable of doing. So I think that if you have the right captain, someone that has good leadership, strong character, knows how to bounce back, but people like him, he's friendly with everybody, and everybody feels that they can go to him, that creates an amazing dressing room and an amazing feeling in the dressing room. And I think Kompany is that kind of guy. When you just see him, there's just a niceness about him. And I think when you just saw how he relates to the players, and even again, this because it was such a pivotal point in the United game, when everybody was pissed off, everybody was angry, and then he then said, "I just want to just say something," and just the way he just broke down the issues he had. He wasn't screaming, he wasn't swearing, he wasn't shouting, he was calm, but he was pissed off. He was pissed off. This was a chance as captain to win the Premier League in front of your sworn rivals. He was pissed off, but he still had the ability to compose himself and just say, "Look, guys, this is where we did wrong. This is the things that we did not do well. And this is the things that we should have done well in order to win this game." And I just thought that was just great leadership and a great thing as a captain, because if your captain is pissed off and is angry or doesn't say anything or is not vocal enough, it's bad, because you have to be vocal, but you have to be vocal in the right way. Because if you're too angry, people may not really properly receive it. Because again, remember, there are people who react to being really angry and really tough, but there are people who react to, a bit of ease. So you have to find that equilibrium. But I think, look, man, you don't have to support Man City to enjoy this documentary. I think that's the beauty of this documentary, is that it wasn't like, oh, Man City, Man City, Man City. The beauty about it was that it was about how a successful football team can work, how demanding it is, how tough it is, the coaching involved, the team involved. Because again, as Guardiola even said in it, that he leans a lot on the assistants. and said that the assistants can see things that he can't see. So he really relies upon what these guys can see. So, no, for me, this has to be done for more teams. This definitely has to be done for more teams. Like, I would love to see, because I think for me, I said it has to be done for more teams because I'd like to see a Barcelona one. I would have loved if they did one for the Mourinho Inter Milan team. I'd have loved if they did one for the Jupp Heynckes Bayern treble winning team. I would have loved. I mean, one of the best ones would have been the Ferguson treble. That would have been amazing to see that. The Ranieri. See, I mean, I think one exists, but I don't think to this detail. The Ranieri Leicester City win would have been one of the most amazing things to see and witness. But I think why this works in particular, you can't escape, is because of Pep. I think I think his success, his coaching methods, but specifically his character. For me, the only person who I think will be as absorbing and magnetic to watch is Mourinho. I think seeing Mourinho behind the scenes would be incredible. Like, for me, I would pay in my blood to watch that. I would literally pay in my blood to see a behind the scenes of Mourinho in a full season and to see how he operates. But yeah, no, I mean, I think, no, look, it is, if you're really into football, man, I mean, it's like watching porn. Seriously, I'm sorry, it's like watching porn, because it is just so, you're hooked. I was fully hooked into how this was, and even when it ended, I was like, damn, I want to watch more. Literally, I want to watch more. Like, I want to watch more. Like, I want to see more of this stuff. I want to just see how the football team works. And I think even again, because obviously you can do the highs, but again, the things that are most dramatic are the lows. Seeing how Guardiola was when they lost to Wigan in the FA Cup, seeing how he reacted to them when they lost to Liverpool, because I think what always happens, I think it's before a game and after a game, they go into like a room, they darken it up and they put up a projector and they basically break down in stills where they went wrong, and it's almost like being back in school. It's being back in school and just having this projector of like, where you went wrong, where you went right, and so forth. So it's man, it's truly, this was truly great work. And I think for Amazon, man, I think if Amazon are smart, man, Amazon have to bid. They have to outbid Sky, outbid everybody, and really do more of this football stuff. But I think, based on how this has been received, how well this is received, I think Amazon now know that because again, like, this is worth getting Prime. First of all, you should really be on Prime, because Prime is how you should shop now. But I think Amazon having this as an exclusive is amazing, because again, I'm saying this right now, I mean, because I've seen a bit of the Juventus documentary, the Benzema one. For me, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing, because the drama involved in this, the excitement involved in this, the characters involved in this is completely amazing. Because you have the David Silva thing as well, with the unfortunate thing that happened with his child and how he was worrying about his child who was born prematurely. You have the whole Aguero thing, which was fascinating because he's separated from his wife. So his son only comes to visit like maybe once or twice a month. And he actually said he actually lives mostly by himself alone in this big house with a cinema. That was very interesting to see the friendships between Kyle Walker and John Stones, and how they joke within one another. Laporte and how he came in. Bernardo Silva, how he's sort of like, obviously him and Mendy. Everybody knows about Mendy, but I think people didn't really know that. I think Bernardo Silva really is one of the most liked guys in that group. So it's just so very interesting seeing the characters, the personalities, and how they get together. Because when you're building a team, chemistry is important. Because people, they have to get along. It isn't imperative, it isn't essential, but it really helps if there is a good family feel within the team, because that translates into, I'm willing to die for my teammates. We are working on the same level. And if we're in the trenches, because we're together and the family, numbers, strength in numbers. I can't do this on my own. I am stronger with an arm, and I think that was a very, very good point that they were really able to get through there. So yeah, look, man, if you have the chance to watch it. I fully recommend it. It's an amazing, amazing watch, and it was truly, truly quality.